episode of Talkin Shop. I've got Welcome to another episode of Talkin Shop. I've got my buddy Kevin here. You might know him as Fervent Finance or my colleague on Reversion to the Mean, the podcast. You can see we're at my home gym, Body Evolution CrossFit in Fishers. We just got done squatting and deadlifting, as you probably saw leading in. And now we're going to take a few minutes, talk some shop. I thought it'd be a good conversation to have with Kevin. You would consider yourself more of a do-it-yourselfer, right? Yeah. So Kevin is not a financial planner, studying for the CFP, but manages his own personal finances. He's a boglehead, he's a fire guy, so he's got a good boglehead. Sorry, John. So he's got a good grasp on things, and not everybody needs a financial advisor, even though that's what I do, and I think most people do. So I thought I would ask Kevin a little bit about how he got into doing it himself, and maybe shed some light on some things that help you manage your finances without the help of someone like myself. So I guess let's first off start. What made you want to do it yourself as opposed to have somebody help you?
Yeah, I think it was once I had my first real job in the real world after college. You have your 401k, you might have some student loans, you might need a new car, so you need to know, you're going to finance it or buy it outright. There's just a lot of things that go into your finances once you're out of college. And there's different ways to do it. Some people will seek others for advice, where I'm more of the type where I'll just go online and just go down a rabbit hole for a long time. And it's kind of the same thing, I think, with fitness as well. You can go online and kind of figure out where you want to start. But at the end of the day, you kind of see where you fall in, and at that time, you kind of like realize where you want to go. And I've found myself to, be more of a do-it-yourselfer. Same thing with working out. I'm not a part of a CrossFit gym. I work out by myself in my basement. I spend a lot of hours on YouTube looking up different workouts and reading workout plans, so kind of fit hand in hand just with my personality. I think it's person specific depending on what you're more inclined to do, whether seek professional advice or spend the time, which can be a long time, to try to teach yourself the basics at least.
So have you always been interested in finance? Is it something you always thought you like to do, or is it something, like you said, once you got your first job and realized that's when you became interested in it?
I've always been interested in personal finance. But I think I realized once I was like 24 or 25, I didn't know shit, right?
Right.
So, I knew what a 401k was. I knew I should pay off my student loans, but I didn't know much more than that, right? I was trading stocks on TD Ameritrade and thought that was investing. So I think around like 24 or 25 is when I realized I didn't know anything. So that's when I really, started reading, looking at blog posts, just kind of surveying the personal finance landscape to see, where was I proficient and where did I need to learn more. So, and then I, from there, just kind of decided, saw I fit in a certain, I'm a boglehead,
right.
Do it yourself first, keep it simple.
You found your people. Yeah, totally. So do you think you've missed out on anything by doing it yourself, or you think you cover most? I mean, you're a little different than most do-it-yourselfers because you are studying for your CFP.
Yeah.
So maybe some of those areas you weren't proficient in, you're becoming proficient, like insurance. We talked about that earlier today, you and I. But do you think that you've missed out on anything in the past because you've done it yourself, or do you feel like you went down those rabbit holes enough to know you're protected?
Well, I'm sure I could have, if I sought out professional advice, I might have learned the things sooner or been, coached along the path sooner, where it takes longer to become proficient in something when you're doing it yourself, especially. It takes years, right? So I'm still learning. It's been, 6 years since I really started trying to figure this stuff out. So, but at the end of the day, I don't think if you avoid the big mistakes, I don't think you'll fall too far behind doing it yourself.
So what are a few resources, whether it be technology, blogs, what are some things that if somebody's interested in doing it themselves, would you say is a must-have that they need to be reading or using to help them do it on their own?
Yeah, I think there's those authors that kind of give you the head start and what you need to think about when you're investing in personal finance. Like Ben Carlson's book is great. Rick Ferry has a bunch of books. John Bogle's written 10 books plus now. So kind of start with the basics. You just search the best personal finance books online. You might start some, and if that doesn't resonate with you, put the book aside and start something else until you find something that resonates with you. And then a lot of times, those authors, once you get to the back of their book, all the books they reference, those are going to be along the same ideals as the book that resonated with you. So that's what I did. Read Ben Carlson's book, and then you look in the back, and he references 25 other books.
Right.
Go buy those or check those out of the library.
Well, I think something that you said sparked something in my mind. So you said if you're reading a book and if it's not speaking to you, then just abandon that book and find a new one. I do think that's a beauty with financial planning is that there's not one right way for everybody. So you and I were talking about real estate and how that fits in, and that's not something I would recommend, but we talked about an article on the podcast about people who lucked in to wealth because of real estate. There are people who build their wealth in real estate. So I think that while there might not be one right way, if you find the way that speaks to you the most, that you're most likely to stick with, then you have a better chance of success than trying to force yourself into a plan or a way of doing things that doesn't speak to your inner self and your finances. So I think that makes a lot of sense. So as we wrap this up, the class is done. They're going to want to get to their stuff, and we need to go grab some dinner. One last question for you, and it's joking, but I only say that because Ryan Curlin was serious about it. End of the year, so 2019 is coming up. What is your S&P 500 target for the end of 2019?
10 million.
10 million? I like it. I like it. Take that to the bank. All right, Kevin. Well, thank you for taking the time to come down. If you don't know, he lives in Michigan. I'm down in Fishers, Indiana. So he drove, 6 hours today?
3.5.
Oh, 3.5. 3.5 hours. 6 sounds better. 3.5 hours down to come hang out. We recorded a podcast live, so make sure to check that out. We got a workout in. We got this video in. We're going to have dinner. Then he's heading back home tomorrow. So that's pretty good friend right there to make that trip. Maybe next year I'll make it up and we'll be recording from his gym. So Kevin, thanks for coming down. Everybody, thanks for watching. Tune in. This is the last one for 2018, so tune in next year for more Talkin' Shop. We'll see you the next episode.